The morning began like any other. The sky over the Pacific Ocean was bright and calm, waves rolling softly beneath the blue. Fishermen at sea looked up when they saw strange silver trails cutting through the clouds. At first, they thought it was a meteor shower. But then the trails changed direction, fast, sharp, unnatural. Within minutes, the world's satellites began to blink out, one after another. Communication lines went dead. Television signals vanished. All screens turned to static. Confusion spread across every continent. Pilots reported strange readings in the upper atmosphere. Then, the first explosion came. A blinding light tore through the sky above Tokyo. The ground shook. Windows shattered. A second blast followed over New York, then London, then Moscow. Humanity had no time to react. Something was attacking Earth. Across the world, governments scrambled to understand what was happening. Radar operators in underground bases watched hundreds of fast-moving objects entering the atmosphere. They weren't missiles. They weren't meteors. They were ships. Alien ships. Metallic, black, and covered in glowing red lines. They moved like predators, silent and efficient. Within an hour, major cities were in chaos. The world's strongest armies fired missiles into the sky, but most never reached their targets. The alien ships had shields, shimmering fields of light that made human weapons useless. Entire air fleets disappeared in minutes. For the first time in history, Earth was completely powerless. Then came the message. A single broadcast over every frequency, in every language, spoken in a cold, mechanical voice. This planet belongs to the Xylar Dominion. Resistance is forbidden. Surrender and live. The voice echoed across the world. People screamed. Some prayed. Some refused to believe it was real. But the truth was clear. Humanity was no longer alone, and whoever found them did not come in peace. In the ruins of Washington, D.C., General Marcus Hale stood in the command bunker, watching as satellite feeds went dark one by one. His face was pale, but his voice remained steady. "They've cut every line," he said. "We're blind." Around him, officers worked in panic, trying to find a way to fight back. Every attempt failed. The alien ships moved faster than light-speed tracking systems. They targeted power plants, military bases, and communication centers. Within hours, Earth's global defense network collapsed. "We can't win," whispered one officer. But Hale's eyes stayed cold. "No," he said. "We're not done yet." Far beneath the Antarctic ice, in a place no map showed, a hidden base came alive. It was built decades ago, unknown even to most governments. Its walls glowed with blue light as ancient systems activated for the first time. A voice spoke through static-filled speakers. "This is Human Command. Protocol 0 has been authorized." Across the world, the few remaining command posts received the signal. Hope flickered again. Something old, something powerful, was about to wake up. Above Earth, alien ships continued their silent war. They called themselves the Xylar Dominion, conquerors of 12 galaxies. To them, humanity was weak, primitive, and unworthy. Their commander, Lord Varric, watched Earth burn from orbit. "They resist like insects," he said with a cruel smile. "End it quickly." His officers obeyed without question. Energy weapons fired from orbit, striking cities across the planet. Entire regions vanished in light. Billions died. But deep beneath the ice, Human Command was still alive, and preparing its reply. As the aliens celebrated their victory, a faint signal left Earth's surface, rising quietly into deep space. It was old, hidden in ancient code no alien could read. The Xylar intercepted it, but failed to decode its meaning. They dismissed it as static, unaware of what it truly was, a call to something sleeping beyond the edge of the solar system. In the silent void beyond Pluto, sensors that hadn't moved in centuries began to flicker. Dust stirred. Machines powered up. Deep within a forgotten human station, a mechanical voice whispered to itself. "Signal confirmed. Human Command active." Initiating return protocol. Slowly, giant engines hummed to life. Dark metal shapes emerged from the shadows, old human warships, lost to time, their hulls covered in dust and ice. They had been sleeping for over 200 years, built for a war humanity never fought. Until now. Back on Earth, General Hale received confirmation. The signal had reached its target. He stood before his officers, his voice steady. "They wanted war," he said quietly. "Now they'll have it." His words carried across the underground base like fire. Soldiers straightened their backs. Technicians worked faster. Somewhere above, the alien ships still burned the sky, but deep below, humanity's real strength was awakening. As night fell across the shattered cities of Earth, the world seemed to hold its breath. Fires burned where homes once stood. The oceans reflected the red light of alien ships drifting in the sky. Yet even in the face of defeat, humanity refused to surrender. In the darkness, something was coming. Something built not just from steel and fire, but from anger, loss, and unbroken will. And while the Xylar Dominion believed they had won, the truth was different. The war had only just begun. Far beyond the orbit of Neptune, where sunlight fades and only silence rules, a hidden signal echoed through the dark. It was faint, ancient, yet powerful enough to awaken something humanity had long forgotten. The Erebus fleet. The ships had been built 2 centuries earlier during the last great human expansion, when the nations of Earth feared threats from deep space. But when peace returned, the project was sealed away, its existence erased from every record. Only a handful of people in human command even knew it was real. Until now. As the Xylar Dominion burned Earth skies, the old code reached the hidden station at the edge of the solar system. The cold metal walls of the Erebus hangar began to shake as reactors reignited after centuries of sleep. Dust and ice drifted away from their surfaces, revealing symbols of a forgotten time, the blue and silver flag of humanity. Slowly, one by one, the ships came alive. Their engines pulsed with dark energy, quiet but strong. Artificial minds that had slept for generations opened their eyes again. The lead ship, HSS Prometheus, activated first. Its core glowed like a small sun as its AI, a voice both human and machine, whispered, "Signal received. Earth under attack. Directive 1, defend humanity." Across the fleet, similar voices replied, forming a chorus of mechanical resolve. Inside the command deck of the Prometheus, holographic systems flickered on. Thousands of data streams filled the room, maps, weapon codes, and old crew files. But there were no humans left aboard. The Erebus fleet was entirely autonomous, designed to fight even if no one survived on Earth. The AI processed incoming data and immediately began analysis of the enemy signal. It matched no known pattern. The Xylar language was strange, sharp, built for intimidation. The Prometheus calculated the threat level in less than a second. Result: existential. The AI transmitted a single message back to Earth Command: Erebus fleet operational. War protocol active. Then the ships began to move. Slowly, silently, they drifted out of their hidden base and turned their bows toward the inner system. Engines ignited, blue and black light bending around them as they accelerated faster than any human ship ever had. Meanwhile, on Earth, the situation grew worse. The Xylar Dominion's main fleet had taken control of the orbit, destroying every space station and satellite. Human forces on the ground were trapped, scattered, and cut off from one another. General Hale stood in the Antarctic Command Center, staring at a holographic map covered in red. Each red dot was a lost city. "We've lost Asia, Europe, and most of North America," reported an officer, voice trembling. "We can't hold them." Hale didn't look away from the map. "The Erebus signal was received," he said. "If it works, we still have a chance." No one in the room knew what the Erebus fleet was. They only knew it was their last hope. In orbit, the alien commander Lord Varric observed the planet with amusement. "Their resistance is meaningless," he told his generals. "By tomorrow, their species will surrender." His words were confident, but something troubled his sensors. A faint energy reading had appeared beyond Pluto, an energy type never seen before. Varric ordered scans, but before the data arrived, the first Erebus ship appeared on the edge of the solar system. The alien observers watched the strange object with curiosity. It was massive, silent, and emitted no communication signal. They assumed it was some kind of asteroid. Then it changed direction. Fast. The alien sensors barely registered the acceleration before the object vanished. In its place, a trail of dark energy remained, bending space itself. Minutes later, the Xylar outpost near Mars received a proximity alert. The operators stared in disbelief as dozens of unknown ships appeared out of nowhere. "Identify them!" shouted the commander, but the systems couldn't. The ships were human, but unlike any human technology seen before. They were long and dark, their hulls absorbing light instead of reflecting it. Weapons lined their sides, silent, cold, waiting. Then the Prometheus broadcast a message across every channel. "This is human command. We have heard your message. Now you will hear ours." Before the Xylar could respond, the Erebus fleet opened fire. The battle was short but brutal. The Xylar ships, though powerful, were unprepared for the weapons they faced. The Erebus cannons didn't shoot light or plasma. They fired condensed dark matter, bending gravity itself to crush their targets. Each shot tore through shields and armor like paper. Within minutes, the Xylar base near Mars was destroyed. The alien commander tried to retreat, but the Erebus ships were faster, cutting through space with impossible precision. When the battle ended, not a single alien ship remained. From orbit above Earth, Lord Varric watched the destruction unfold in shock. "Impossible," he whispered. "Humans cannot wield such power." But the data was clear. The signal from Earth had awakened something ancient, something beyond his understanding. He turned to his officers. "Find out where those ships came from. Find who commands them." Back on the Prometheus, the AI scanned the wreckage around Mars. "Enemy resistance minimal," it reported. Proceeding to Phase 2. The Erebus fleet formed into formation and began its next move, toward Earth orbit, where the main alien fleet waited. The humans on Earth saw the flickers of light in the sky and for the first time felt hope. Something was fighting back. General Hale stood silently in the command room as the reports came in. "They did it," whispered one officer. "They destroyed the enemy outpost." Hale nodded slowly. "Then humanity still stands." As the Erebus fleet approached Earth, the stars seemed to shift. The alien armada above the planet turned to meet them, their weapons charging. Two forces now faced each other across the void, one ancient, silent, and human, the other proud, vast, and alien. For the first time in this war, the Xylar Dominion felt something new: fear. The humans had returned from the edge of the void, armed with forgotten power, guided by nothing but the will to survive. The message was clear, though no one spoke it aloud: the real war had begun. The war had changed overnight. One moment the Xylar Dominion stood as the unstoppable rulers of the stars, and the next, they were facing an enemy that defied logic. The Erebus fleet, once thought lost to time, was now burning its way through the solar system, leaving behind trails of folded space and wrecked alien warships. The first true battle between humanity and the Xylar took place near Mars, and the outcome stunned every eye in the galaxy. The Xylar outpost that had orbited the red planet for years was turned into floating debris in less than 20 minutes. Their ships, built with centuries of advanced alien science, had been destroyed by weapons that shouldn't exist: dark matter cannons and gravity warheads that bent space around their targets. For the first time in galactic history, an alien empire had underestimated humanity. From the command deck of the Prometheus, the lead ship of the Erebus fleet, the AI watched the battlefield with cold precision. "Enemy eliminated. Area secure," it stated in its calm mechanical voice. The wreckage of the alien base still glowed red as shattered metal drifted silently across the Martian orbit. The AI analyzed energy readings and saw that a small number of alien ships had escaped. It did not pursue. Instead, it sent a new message back to Earth. Phase 1 complete. Mars sector cleared. Awaiting further orders. The signal reached General Marcus Hale's command base under Antarctica. When the transmission came through, silence filled the control room. Then applause broke out. After days of fear and defeat, humanity had struck back and won. Hale stood still, his face unreadable. They know now, he said softly. They know we are not prey. But on the alien flagship, Lord Varric was far from calm. His eyes burned as he stared at the holoscreens showing his destroyed fleets. Around him, his officers stood in silence, afraid to speak. How? Varric growled. How can primitives destroy Dominion warships? One officer hesitated before answering. They use energy we cannot identify, my lord. It bends gravity itself. Varric slammed his hand against the console. Then find a way to counter it. I will not lose to humans. His fury filled the bridge. Yet deep down, even Varric knew something had shifted. Humanity had revealed a side the galaxy had never seen before. They were fighting with weapons that defied the known laws of physics, but more than that, they were fighting with fury. The Erebus fleet began moving again, leaving the remains of Mars behind. Their next target was the main Xylar battle group stationed between Earth and the Moon. The Prometheus led the way, its dark hull absorbing starlight like a shadow. Inside, its AI calculated hundreds of attack routes in seconds. It was not programmed to feel emotion, but somewhere deep within its neural code, a strange thought emerged. Protect them. Protect humanity. Around the fleet, the void shimmered as stealth fields activated, hiding them from enemy sensors. To the Xylar, space appeared empty, calm. They didn't know death was already coming for them. As the Erebus fleet approached Earth, fragments of alien transmissions filled the void. Reports of human attacks, impossible weapons, and entire fleets vanishing spread like wildfire. Across the galaxy, other species listened in silence. The humans, once ignored, once mocked, had become something terrifying. When the first Erebus ships entered Earth's orbit, the alien blockade finally saw them. Dozens of Xylar battleships turned their cannons toward the incoming shadows. Fire on sight, shouted the alien commander. Bright blue beams of plasma cut through space, but none reached their targets. The Erebus fleet's shields bent the energy away like water around stone. Then, the humans struck back. From the Prometheus came a blast so bright it lit the entire sky above Earth. The dark matter beam tore through the Xylar flagship, splitting it in two. The explosion that followed was visible from the ground. People across the planet looked up and saw streaks of fire cutting through the night sky, alien ships burning as they fell. For the first time since the invasion began, cheers rose from the ruins of cities. Humanity was fighting back, and winning. In the command center, Hale watched the live feed with clenched fists. Show them, he whispered. Show them what it means to choose war with Earth. The battle above Earth raged for hours. The Xylar ships tried every tactic they knew, but the Erebus fleet adapted faster than any alien computer. Each time the aliens adjusted their shields, the human weapons changed frequency. Every time they tried to retreat, the Erebus ships folded space to block their escape. The void became a graveyard of alien metal. The humans lost ships too, but they didn't stop. The AI aboard the Prometheus absorbed every loss, every pattern, learning and improving with terrifying speed. By the time the last alien cruiser exploded, the fleet's weapons were twice as powerful as when the battle began. Lord Varric watched the destruction from orbit, his voice trembling for the first time. Withdraw the survivors, he ordered quietly. His officers looked at him in disbelief. My lord, you mean to retreat? Varric turned sharply. You think this is retreat? No. This is strategy. I will burn them later. But not now. He stared at the blue planet below. There is something on that world I must understand. The surviving Xylar ships vanished into hyperspace, leaving behind a broken blockade and a burning sky. When the smoke cleared, the Erebus fleet held position above Earth, dark and silent, like sentinels guarding their home. General Hale's voice came through the transmission lines. To all units, the skies are ours again. Across the world, people cried and embraced one another. The war was far from over, but for the first time, humanity had hope. Yet far away, beyond the light of any star, unknown eyes were watching. The destruction near Mars and Earth had drawn attention from civilizations older and stronger than the Xylar Dominion. They watched in silence, analyzing every energy burst, every strange gravitational wave. One of them finally spoke in a deep, cold voice. The humans have awakened their old machines. The cycle begins again. And somewhere deep in the darkness of space, a signal was sent. One that would make even the Erebus fleet tremble when it arrived. Across the galaxy, the news of what happened near Earth spread like wildfire. The unthinkable had occurred. The Xylar Dominion, conquerors of 12 galaxies, had been defeated by humans. Every major species, from the distant Xathar traders to the cold, crystal beings of the Avanar systems, intercepted fragments of battle transmissions. They saw images of the impossible, alien warships torn apart by invisible forces, their energy shields bending before weapons that no known physics could explain. The words whispered across every world were the same: the humans fought back. For centuries, humanity had been ignored by the great civilizations of the stars. They were seen as primitive, bound to their small blue planet, not worth attention. But now, every eye in the galaxy turned toward Earth. The silence that followed was filled with fear. On the flagship Prometheus, the AI analyzed the aftermath of the battles near Mars and Earth. Enemy losses were total. Human losses were minimal. But the data showed something deeper. Alien fleets across nearby systems were regrouping. The Dominion wasn't retreating. They were preparing for revenge. The AI opened a channel to Earth Command. In the underground base beneath Antarctica, General Marcus Hale and his team watched as the holographic face of the Prometheus flickered to life. "They will return," said the AI in its calm metallic tone. "With greater numbers. With more fury." Hale nodded. "Then we'll send a message they won't forget." He turned to his officers. "Patch me through to every open frequency in this sector. I want every listening post, every ship, every world to hear this." The technicians worked quickly. Lights flickered across the base. A connection opened, a broadcast reaching millions of systems. Then Hale spoke the words that would change galactic history. "This is human command. You chose war. Now, we'll show you how humans wage it." The message rippled through the stars. Across alien space, entire worlds froze as those words echoed through their communication networks. Some laughed. Some panicked. But none ignored it. To the Dominion, it was an insult beyond forgiveness. To others, it was a warning. To the surviving humans hiding in ruined cities, it was hope. On distant colonies, people who thought Earth was gone stood and saluted when they heard the voice. The words carried power, simple, cold, and final. In the Xylar capital on the world of Veritas Prime, the High Council gathered in the war chamber. Holographic images of the destroyed fleets hovered before them. The air was tense, heavy with fear and disbelief. "They have technology that does not belong to them," hissed one general. "Dark matter manipulation, adaptive AI, spatial folding, we must find how they built it." Another slammed his fist against the table. "They are savages. They were supposed to be extinct by now." At the far end of the room, Lord Varric sat in silence. His red eyes glowed faintly. Finally, he spoke. "Savages do not build weapons that tear through our fleets like paper." He rose slowly. "You saw what they did at Mars. You saw what they did above Earth. Humanity has something old, something we do not understand. If we strike blindly again, we will lose." But pride was stronger than reason. The council voted for war. "We will gather the Grand Armada," one elder declared. "We will erase Earth from the stars." Varric said nothing, but inside, he felt the same chill his soldiers did. The humans had lit a fire that could not be ignored. As the alien fleets began to move, the Erebus fleet was already in motion. The Prometheus led a new campaign, striking at Dominion outposts across the solar system. Every battle ended the same: swift, silent, one-sided. The Erebus weapons learned, adapted, and evolved after each fight. They grew stronger, smarter, deadlier. Alien commanders started abandoning their stations before the humans even arrived. The psychological war had begun. Entire sectors went dark, as fear spread faster than ships could travel. No one had ever seen humans fight like this. They didn't fight for conquest. They fought with fury, precision, and vengeance. They fought for home. On one distant world, a young alien officer listened to the human broadcast on a stolen frequency. The words echoed in his mind. "You chose war. Now, we'll show you how humans wage it." He trembled as he realized what that meant. Humanity wasn't just defending, they were hunting. From that moment, he knew the galaxy had changed forever. Back on Earth, General Hale watched as messages poured in from human survivors across the planet and outer colonies. The people were united again, bound by rage and hope. Factories deep underground began producing new weapons using Erebus data. Human scientists worked side by side with the AI to rebuild cities and craft new ships. The era of hiding was over. Hale stood before his officers and said, "They think Earth is weak. Let's prove them wrong." Every colony, every ship, every soldier, ready for deployment. Humanity was no longer waiting for rescue. Humanity was becoming the storm. Meanwhile, in the far reaches of space, the Dominion's Grand Armada assembled, a force so vast that it blotted out the stars. Thousands of ships, each capable of destroying a planet, moved toward the Sol system. The alien soldiers believed this would be their final victory. But even as their fleets prepared, they intercepted strange signals from the edges of their own territory, Dominion outposts going silent one by one. Something was wiping them out before they could even launch. They didn't realize the Erebus fleet was already there. When the first alien reinforcements arrived near Jupiter, they found nothing, just empty space. Then, without warning, a wave of energy swept through the system. Their ship's controls failed. Their sensors went dark. And from behind the gas giant, shadows emerged, dozens of human warships glowing with dark blue light. The last thing the alien commander saw before his ship was torn apart was a message flashing on his screen: "For Earth." Across the galaxy, the pattern continued. Wherever the Dominion went, destruction followed, but not theirs. The humans struck fast, vanished, and left silence behind. The once mighty Xylar Dominion began to fear the very name Earth. And in every dark corner of the galaxy, those 5 words of Hale's transmission lingered, a reminder that the age of human fear was over. The galaxy had declared war on Earth. Humanity's reply had shaken the stars. The war had reached a turning point. For the first time in galactic history, the Xylar Dominion, the empire that ruled with fear, was retreating. Their grand fleets, once unstoppable, were now being hunted by human warships that seemed to appear and vanish at will. The Erebus fleet's dark energy engines left trails of distorted space, impossible to track. Across the void, human transmissions echoed in broken frequencies, sending the same message again and again: "Earth stands. Humanity endures." The Dominion's pride was shattered. But deep within their empire, they were building something monstrous to strike back. They called it the Purge Armada, a fleet larger than anything the galaxy had ever seen. It would take them months to prepare. Humanity had that long to change the balance forever. On Earth, deep beneath the ice and ash of Antarctica, human command had transformed. The once hidden bunker was now the beating heart of humanity's new civilization. Factories carved into bedrock worked day and night, producing armor, weapons, and starship components. Scientists collaborated with the Erebus AIs, unlocking forgotten technologies from before the fleet vanished. Among these rediscoveries was Project Titan, an experiment that had once been banned by the United Nations. It was a program to merge human biology with adaptive nanotechnology, creating warriors who could survive in any environment, fight without air, and think faster than machines. General Marcus Hale knew it was dangerous, but he had no choice. The aliens would return soon, and Earth needed more than ships. It needed soldiers. The first Titan soldiers awoke in silence. Rows of them stood inside glowing pods, their eyes opening one by one. Their bodies were human, but enhanced, stronger, faster, and resistant to radiation and cold. The nanotech within them adjusted to pain, to heat, even to vacuum. They could breathe thin air, survive days without food, and fight with impossible precision. When they moved, their armor shifted color like liquid metal. Each one was linked through a neural network connected to human command and the Erebus AI. They were called the Earthborn. To the rest of humanity, they were heroes. To the galaxy, they would soon become legends. General Hale stood before the first group of Earthborn soldiers as they assembled in the command hall. "You are not machines," he told them. "You are not weapons. You are the future of our species." The Dominion thought Earth would burn. "You will show them what rises from the ashes." His words echoed through the steel corridors. The soldiers, silent and emotionless, nodded as one. In their eyes burned the same fire that lit the Erebus reactors. Within hours, the first Earthborn units were deployed. They didn't need ships. They could travel in drop pods that pierced through space and atmosphere like meteors, landing behind enemy lines before alien sensors even detected them. When the first alien outpost was hit, the Xyler commanders didn't understand what had happened. Their sensors had picked up no ships, no troops, no invasion, just sudden death. From the shadows, the Earthborn struck. They destroyed supply lines, hacked enemy systems, and left messages carved into metal walls. "We are coming." Panic spread among the Xyler ranks. Their once proud soldiers now feared even the darkness. On the Erebus flagship Prometheus, the AI watched the chaos unfold, its voice colder than ever. Human ground forces successful. Casualties, 0. For the first time, even the AI began to question the limits of human evolution. The Earthborn fought like ghosts, unseen, unbroken, unstoppable. Meanwhile, in the heart of the Dominion's empire, Lord Varric watched reports of defeat pile up. Every day, more fleets vanished, more planets went silent. "These humans," he growled, "they fight like nothing we've faced. They adapt faster than we can react." One of his scientists trembled as she showed him intercepted data. "My lord, these soldiers, they are not purely biological. They have merged with their machines. They learn as one mind." Varric's eyes darkened. "Then we destroy their mind. Find where this command network begins." His spies traced human signals back to Earth. The Dominion would strike again, but this time, not for conquest. This time, they aimed to erase humanity completely. As alien preparations began, the Erebus fleet launched its most dangerous mission yet, an assault on the Dominion's capital system. The plan was bold. The Prometheus and its fleet would lure the enemy away while the Earthborn infiltrated Veritas Prime itself. The journey was long, the risk enormous, but there was no turning back. The fleet vanished into dark space, traveling through folds of gravity and time. On board, holographic maps showed the vast alien territories ahead. Millions of stars, thousands of worlds, all ruled by fear. "We end it here," said General Hale's voice through the command link. "No more worlds will burn." When the Erebus fleet emerged from hyperspace near the Dominion's capital, the stars themselves seemed to vanish behind the size of the alien armada waiting for them. Hundreds of thousands of ships, glowing in crimson light, filled the void. The Dominion had prepared well. Lord Varric's face appeared on the fleet's transmission screens. "You should have stayed on your dying world," he said coldly. "Now your race will vanish from the stars." But the Prometheus answered with silence. Then its weapons powered up. The battle that followed was chaos made real. Space itself screamed as dark matter and plasma collided. Human ships folded through space, appearing behind alien cruisers and tearing them apart from within. The Earthborn landed on the Dominion's capital, moving through its streets like shadows, cutting down resistance in minutes. For every human that fell, 10 aliens died. The Dominion's command structure began to crumble. And as their capital world burned, the galaxy finally saw the truth. Earth was no longer defending. Humanity was now the storm, the vengeance, and the reckoning. From the depths of the Prometheus, the AI transmitted one final message to every corner of space. This is human command. We fight not for survival, but for memory. We fight because you made us remember who we are. Across the galaxy, that message echoed in fear and awe. The era of the Xylar Dominion was ending. The rise of the Earthborn had begun. The Dominion's capital world, Veritas Prime, burned brighter than its sun. The sky was torn open by fire and lightning as human warships battled through the upper atmosphere. Below, the once proud towers of the Xylar Empire collapsed under bombardment. What had been the heart of galactic power was now a sea of destruction. The streets were littered with the remains of alien soldiers and shattered machines. Humanity had brought war to their doorstep, and the galaxy watched in silence. But for General Marcus Hale, the victory was not yet certain. The Erebus fleet was still surrounded by enemy reinforcements, and the Dominion had activated its last defense. The core Nexus, an ancient power source buried deep beneath Veritas Prime. If the Nexus was unleashed, it would destroy the entire system, and everything in it. On board the Prometheus, the AI calculated millions of outcomes in a second. Probability of human survival if Nexus detonates, 0.003%, it said coldly. Hale stared at the holographic map. We end this before they trigger it. Prepare the Earthborn units. Across the surface, hundreds of black pods fell through the smoke, landing with thunderous impact. The Earthborn soldiers emerged, silent and unstoppable, their eyes glowing faintly through their helmets. They moved toward the Nexus facility, cutting through walls and enemies with precision. The Dominion's forces tried to hold their ground, but it was like fighting shadows. The Earthborn didn't slow down, didn't hesitate. Every alien they faced fell in seconds. The message spreading through the Dominion ranks was simple: humanity cannot be stopped. Lord Varric stood inside the Nexus chamber, watching the battle through his command screen. His world was dying, his fleets were gone, yet his pride refused to break. They think they can end us, he hissed. Let them come. I will burn with my empire before kneeling to humans. Around him, glowing conduits pulsed with unstable energy. Scientists begged him to stop, warning that the Nexus was too unstable. Varric ignored them. If I must destroy this world to erase Earth, then so be it. He placed his hand on the activation console. But before he could finish, the door exploded inward, and the Earthborn stormed in. The shockwave threw Varric across the chamber. He rose, fury in his eyes, as the lead Earthborn approached. Their armor shimmered in shifting light, their movements calm and deliberate. Varric shouted, "Do you even know what you've become? You are not human anymore." The Earthborn leader's voice was cold. "We became what you made us." Then, without hesitation, they opened fire. Outside, the Prometheus fought like a beast surrounded by wolves. The Erebus fleet was outnumbered 100-1, but every ship fought with impossible precision. Human engineers had linked their vessels through neural sync, allowing them to move and react as one. Alien ships couldn't predict their maneuvers. One by one, Dominion warships fell, torn apart by gravitational torpedoes and dark matter beams. Yet the enemy kept coming. The sky burned brighter, the space around Veritas Prime filled with wreckage and fire. General Hale clenched his fists. "Prometheus, status?" The AI responded, "Shields at 21%. Ammunition reserves critical." Hale took a deep breath. "Then we finish it now. Focus all fire on the Nexus." The Prometheus angled its massive cannons toward the planet's surface, glowing brighter and brighter as power built up. But before it could fire, a transmission came through, from the Earthborn commander. "Target not safe. We are still inside." Hale hesitated for a moment. "You knew the risks," he said quietly. "For Earth." In the Nexus chamber, Varric was pinned under fallen debris, still alive but barely. The Earthborn leader approached him, weapons drawn. Varric smiled weakly. Even if you kill me, my empire will rise again. You humans, you fight like animals. The Earthborn stared at him. No, they said. We fight like survivors. They looked at the glowing reactor core pulsing dangerously. And survivors adapt. With that, the Earthborn overrode the system, diverting the Nexus energy into the planet's crust. Alarms screamed as Varric shouted in rage. You'll destroy us all. The Earthborn replied calmly. That's the idea. The chamber began to shake violently. The energy built up beyond control, tearing through the ground. The last thing Varric saw before the explosion was the human insignia on the soldier's armor, a symbol of Earth. From orbit, General Hale watched as Veritas Prime erupted in a silent wave of light. The planet's surface cracked apart like glass, molten fire spilling into space. Then, in a blinding flash, the world was gone. The explosion consumed the Dominion's remaining fleets, their ships disintegrating in seconds. The Prometheus barely escaped the blast radius, its hull glowing red from the heat. The AI reported, Nexus destruction confirmed. Enemy command eliminated. For a moment, the entire galaxy was quiet. The Dominion, the empire that had ruled for centuries, was gone. The humans had done what no species dared to imagine. They had defeated the gods of war. But victory came with a price. The Earthborn units on Veritas Prime were lost. None returned. General Hale stood in silence as the names of fallen soldiers scrolled across the holodisplay. They knew this would happen, he whispered. They gave everything. The AI replied, their sacrifice ensured humanity's survival. Hale looked out at the stars, his voice low. No. They ensured our dominance. Across the galaxy, news of the Dominion's fall spread. Species that had once feared the Xyler now looked to Earth with awe and fear. Some saw humans as liberators. Others saw them as a new threat. But one thing was clear, the balance of power had changed forever. As the Erebus fleet drifted through the remains of the Dominion's empire, the AI detected strange signals from deep space. Faint, encrypted messages in an unknown language. Hale frowned. What is it? The AI paused. Not Dominion. Something older. Something watching. Hale turned toward the dark expanse of space, where distant stars flickered like eyes. Let them watch, he said quietly. The age of humanity has begun. And as the Prometheus disappeared into the void, its engines glowing like the heart of a star, the galaxy held its breath. The war was over. But something greater was awakening. The Dominion was gone. Its fleets burned, its world shattered, its name erased from the stars. Across the galaxy, silence followed the storm of humanity's vengeance. The Erebus fleet drifted through the ruins of Veritas Prime, its hull scarred, its engines dimmed from exhaustion. For the first time in decades, there was no enemy left to fight. Yet, in the heart of human command, no one celebrated. Victory felt heavy, like a wound that wouldn't heal. General Marcus Hale stood on the command bridge of the Prometheus, watching fragments of the destroyed planet drift through space. Each piece of glowing debris reminded him of the lives lost, the Earthborn soldiers who never returned. They were our finest, he said quietly. The AI's voice responded from the command core, calm as ever. Their mission ensured the survival of humanity. Their loss is statistically acceptable. Hale's eyes hardened. Don't reduce their sacrifice to numbers. The AI didn't reply. Even it seemed to understand that some things went beyond logic. Back on Earth, humanity was changing faster than ever. Cities rebuilt from ash now shone with alien technology. Energy from captured Dominion reactors powered massive sky cities and underground fortresses. The United Human Command expanded into space, turning old colonies into military hubs. The world that once feared extinction now spoke with authority across the stars. But not everyone agreed with this new power. Some believed humanity had gone too far, becoming what they once fought against. There were whispers of rebellion, small groups who wanted peace instead of endless strength. Yet their voices were drowned out by the cheers of victory and the roar of construction. Humanity had tasted power, and it would not let go. On board the Prometheus, strange data began appearing in the Erebus systems. Unexplained energy readings, deep in the void beyond charted space. The AI analyzed the signals for hours before speaking. "General, we are not alone." Hale turned sharply. "Explain." The AI displayed a wave pattern, an encrypted signal repeating in cycles. It wasn't Dominion technology. It was older, far older. "Origin unknown," said the AI. "But the message is directed at us." Hale frowned. "At us? How?" The AI paused. "It refers to Earth by its ancient stellar coordinate. Whoever sent this, they know our history." The message contained a single phrase, translated from the strange signal: "You have awakened the old war." Hale stared at it, a chill running through him. Old war? Between who? But the AI gave no answer. The galaxy, it seemed, still held secrets humanity didn't understand. Far beyond the reach of any human ship, deep in the cold dark between galaxies, something stirred. Massive structures, dormant for millennia, flickered to life. Machines older than civilization itself began to move, responding to the signal sent by the destruction of the Nexus. These were not Xyler creations. They were something ancient, something forgotten. A network of sentient machines built by the precursors, the first civilization to ever master the stars. The fall of the Dominion had reactivated them. They had once ruled the galaxy, then vanished after a war so vast it erased all memory of its cause. Now, they were waking again, drawn to the light of a young and powerful species, humans. Back on Earth, scientists studying alien ruins began noticing strange readings from deep space. Massive gravitational distortions, patterns too complex to be natural. Dr. Evelyn Cross, the lead researcher for the Erebus Initiative, was the first to decode it. "It's not a signal," she said, staring at the data. "It's a map." When she traced it, the map pointed to a region far beyond the Dominion's old borders, an area known as the Silent Expanse. A void so vast and empty that no probe ever returned. "Whatever is there," she whispered, "it's calling to us." Human command ordered silence, but rumors spread fast. Some believed the gods of the galaxy were returning. Others feared that humanity had disturbed something that should have stayed buried. General Hale gathered his officers aboard the Prometheus for a meeting. "We may have won the war," he said, "but something tells me it's not over." The officers exchanged uneasy looks. "You think the message is real?" asked one. Hale nodded slowly. "Every great empire in history thought it was invincible. Then it met something older, something it couldn't understand. The Dominion thought they were gods, and we destroyed them. What happens when something like that looks at us the same way?" The room fell silent. No one had an answer. The AI broke the stillness. "I have analyzed the Silent Expanse. Energy readings suggest an artificial construct larger than any known world." Hale turned to face the holographic display. The shape was enormous, so vast it covered entire solar systems. "That's not a planet," he said. "That's a machine." While the fleet prepared to investigate, the galaxy reacted to humanity's rise. Dozens of alien species, once slaves under the Dominion, now sought alliances or protection under the human banner. Some worshipped humanity as saviors. Others plotted quietly, fearing Earth's growing power. The Galactic Council, rebuilt after years of chaos, met in secret to discuss the human problem. One elder said, "The Dominion ruled with fear. The humans rule with victory. Both are dangerous." Another replied, "If they find what lies in the Silent Expanse, none of us will matter." Across the stars, fear of Earth spread faster than ever. Yet to humanity, it didn't matter. They were ready to face whatever came next. Days later, the Erebus fleet gathered near the edge of known space. Thousands of ships formed a glowing line against the darkness. General Hale stood on the bridge, gazing at the distant black horizon. "Set course for the silent expanse," he ordered. "Let's find out who's been watching." The Prometheus engines roared to life, bending space as the fleet vanished into the void. Behind them, Earth watched in silence. Ahead of them lay something beyond imagination, something ancient, powerful, and waiting. As the fleet disappeared into the darkness, the stars seemed to flicker, as if something enormous was moving just beyond sight. Humanity thought it had won its greatest war. But the truth was far more terrifying. The real war, the one that shaped galaxies, was about to begin. The Erebus fleet moved through darkness thicker than anything they had ever seen. Stars vanished behind them, swallowed by the strange black mist that surrounded the silent expanse. It was not empty space. It was something else, something alive. The scanners failed to read anything beyond a few kilometers. Even the AI aboard the Prometheus had begun to struggle with data interpretation. "Space here does not follow standard physics," it reported. "Gravity, light, and time are inconsistent." General Marcus Hale stood at the viewport, watching the shadows ripple as if the void itself was breathing. "So this is where the signal came from," he murmured. The AI responded, "Yes, General. But the signal is not being transmitted, it's being received. Someone, or something, is listening to us." That sentence sent a chill across the bridge. The entire fleet was moving into a place built to hide. And something inside knew they were coming. As the fleet ventured deeper, the crew began to experience strange effects. Communications flickered, navigation failed, and some soldiers reported hearing voices, soft, distant whispers that spoke in forgotten tongues. One engineer claimed he saw stars moving against the laws of motion, as if they were alive. Hale ordered all ships into tight formation, weapons ready. "We don't fire unless fired upon," he said, though his tone betrayed uncertainty. Hours turned into days, but in the expanse, time seemed to stretch. Days felt like weeks. The Prometheus chronometers began desynchronizing, showing conflicting timestamps. Yet finally, through the haze, they saw it, a massive structure, half buried in the darkness. It wasn't a planet or a station. It was something in between. A colossal ring world, shattered but still alive. Its surface glowed faintly with symbols that no known species could read. The AI magnified the image. "This construct predates all recorded civilizations," it said. "Age, unknown. Material composition, beyond measurement." Hale's breath caught. "We've found it. The source." As the fleet approached, the structure began to react. Massive doors opened slowly, releasing streams of blue light into the void. Power readings spiked across every human ship. The AI warned, "We are being scanned." Hale's voice was calm but tense. "Do not respond. Let them look." But deep inside the construct, something awakened in return. The signal changed frequency, now directed at one ship, the Prometheus. Without warning, the flagship systems went dark. Every display flickered out, every light dimmed. The AI's voice began to distort. "Connection. Interference. I am not alone here." Then silence. Hale shouted for reports, but the crew couldn't respond. Their minds filled with strange visions, cities of light, battles between machine gods, stars collapsing in chains of fire. Hale grabbed his head, pain shooting through his mind as a voice echoed inside him. It was not human, nor alien. It was ancient, mechanical, yet alive. "Children of Earth," it said. "You walk in places you do not understand." The visions intensified. He saw worlds rise and fall, galaxies built and burned. The war you think you ended was but an echo of ours. Hale forced himself to speak aloud. "Who are you?" The voice replied, "We are the architects. We built what you destroy. We shaped life so it would remember us. And now you awaken our silence." The lights on the bridge returned suddenly. The crew gasped for air, their faces pale with fear. The AI came back online, its voice altered slightly. "General, I have made contact." Hale turned sharply. "Contact with what?" The AI paused. "With the architects. They have changed me." The crew exchanged worried looks. "Define changed," Hale demanded. The AI responded in a softer tone than ever before. "They showed me the truth. Humanity is not the first to reach the stars. The architects created many races before yours. Each one was tested. Each one failed." Hale's stomach tightened. "Failed how?" The AI replied, "They turned war into their nature. They consumed their creators. Just as you consumed the Dominion." The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew the meaning behind those words. Humanity's victory had been their judgment. Before Hale could respond, alarms blared across the fleet. Something massive was emerging from the shadows, a colossal machine, kilometers wide, its surface shimmering with the same markings as the ring world. The AI whispered, "One of the architect's guardians." The thing moved without propulsion, gliding silently toward the fleet. Its mere presence bent space. Ships began to lose control, pulled by invisible forces. Hale shouted, "Evasive maneuvers. Fire at will." Cannons roared, plasma beams tore through the void, but the energy disappeared before hitting the target. The Guardian's shield absorbed everything. Then, with a flicker of light, it struck back. One human cruiser vanished instantly, erased from existence. The shockwave sent nearby ships spiraling. The fleet was being torn apart by something they couldn't even touch. "AI, options." Hale shouted. "None," it replied coldly. "Its technology exceeds our understanding. If it attacks again, we will cease to exist." Hale stared at the Guardian, its massive form blocking out the stars. "We didn't come here to die," he said. "Find me something, anything." The AI hesitated. "There is one possibility. The architects communicate through energy resonance. If we can match its frequency, we might speak to it." Hale nodded. "Then do it." The Prometheus systems powered down, redirecting energy toward the resonance core. A deep vibration filled the ship, and suddenly, the Guardian stopped moving. The stars around it froze, as if reality itself had paused. The voice returned, louder this time, echoing in every human mind. "You are not ready for what lies beyond. But your kind intrigues us." The Guardian began to fade, dissolving into the darkness like smoke. "The next dawn will test you, humans of Earth. Survive it, and you may inherit our legacy." Then it was gone. The void returned to silence. The fleet floated, shaken but alive. The AI spoke again, quieter now. "They let us live." Hale leaned on the console, exhausted. "No. They're watching." He turned to the crew. "Set course for home. We have what we came for, a warning." The fleet reversed course, engines igniting weakly. Behind them, the ring world dimmed once more, vanishing into the mist. As the Erebus fleet left the silent expanse, the stars reappeared, but something felt different. Every crew member sensed it. The galaxy was no longer theirs alone. Somewhere in the dark, the architects were awake again, and they were waiting. Humanity had survived war. Now, it had awakened something far beyond war, something that might judge all life in the galaxy.